Hello, I am Mohammad Musharraf, a blockchain, crypto, and Web3 expert. In this video, we will understand the concept of Bitcoin. COVID has been a major event in human history, comparable to the world wars. It has changed our lives forever in many ways. Social distancing saved many lives, but it also killed businesses at scale. There have been mind-boggling losses to livelihoods, pushing thousands of people deep into poverty. To make things worse, inflation has been at all-time highs in many parts of the world. This isn't something new though. We have seen governments respond to economic crisis by printing more money in the past as well. After all, it's the easiest way to keep economies floating. But it's obviously not the best solution from the taxpayer's point of view. We feel the impact of inflation in our daily lives. The general price of commodities go up, while our hard-earned money loses its value over time. Sounds familiar, right? Satoshi Nakamoto saw this clearly and was well aware of the many problems of centralized fiat money, not just inflation. Following the global financial crisis of 2008, he invented the first ever stable peer-to-peer money, Bitcoin. No one knows Satoshi's real identity. There are only wild guesses at best. But in recent years, Bitcoin has become extremely popular. Most of us have heard its name at least once. It's literally everywhere, from parliaments to advertisements. Everywhere. Yet, there's little or no understanding as to what Bitcoin is, how it works, and above all, why it matters. Let's first look at why it matters. Bitcoin has a limited supply of 21 million coins, which makes it potentially anti-inflationary. Instead of depreciating, Bitcoin's inherent value will only increase over time as generation of new supply decreases and demand increases. It's a hard asset in this sense, like gold or land. Some people call Bitcoin digital gold for this reason. No wonder, it's increasingly becoming investors' favorite hedge against inflation globally. But that's not all. There's more to Bitcoin's potential and advantages. It is fully decentralized, without any central authority or single point of failure. In other words, Bitcoin is a genuine community-owned financial instrument and mode of exchange. The network runs on a public blockchain which combines the best of transparency and privacy. Anyone and everyone can audit Bitcoin transactions freely, while strong cryptographic encryption ensures optimal pseudonymity. To put simply, these transactions are perfectly verifiable, but they do not reveal the user's identity or private information. Moreover, Bitcoin is as borderless as it can get. Traditionally, cross-border transactions take up to a week or more, but sending Bitcoin from one part of the world to another takes at most only a few hours. It's also cheaper because the process does not involve hundreds of intermediaries. By this point, it's abundantly clear why countries like El Salvador are adopting Bitcoin as a legal tender. We need to remember that these countries have pretty unstable currencies with rampant dollarization and high inflation, and they depend a lot on remittances. Naturally, a decentralized digital currency like Bitcoin is a boon for them. So, that pretty much sums up what Bitcoin means or why we must care. Now let's briefly consider how it works. As I've mentioned before, Bitcoin is a peer-to-peer digital currency ecosystem. It runs on a public blockchain and secures transactions using a proof-of-work consensus mechanism. Suppose Alice wants to send one Bitcoin to her friend Bob. She can directly send it from her Bitcoin wallet to Bob's without involving any intermediaries. Now the obvious question is, how is this even secure? It's mainly due to the cryptography and proof of work, and the process of validating transactions, aka mining, is somewhat like this. To send the money, Alice must sign the transaction with her private key. It's basically a cryptographic digital signature. No one knows this key except her. At least that's how it should be. She sends this signed transaction using Bob's public key, which is practically his wallet's public address. But there's no overseer, right? How does the network ensure that Alice is not double spending or impersonating? A globally distributed and decentralized network of miners perform the role of validating transactions. Miners are a category of Bitcoin nodes that use their computation power to solve so-called cryptographic puzzles and find the transaction's unique solution or hash. Everything is randomized, which ensures perfect fairness. Moreover, miners get bitcoins as mining rewards, which incentivizes them to not only validate genuine transactions and contribute to the network's security overall. This incentivization system is also the process by which new bitcoins come into circulation. The rules of this game are predefined through consensus among the users' community, and no one can bend them at will. However, after 210,000 blocks, the current mining reward is reduced by half. The process is known as halving and happens once every 4 years. This also slows down the rate at which new bitcoins come into circulation, which usually has a positive impact on Bitcoin's price. Currently, miners receive 6.25 BTC per block, following the latest halving in 2020. The next one is scheduled for 2024, when the mining reward will become 3.125 BTC. There's obviously a lot more to say about Bitcoin. It has enough substance for an entire video series actually. But anyway, I must wrap up the present discussion now. Bitcoin is critical to the evolution of finance, not just for what it is, but also because it sparked off a flurry of fintech innovations. If Web3 can think of actually having a stable and working financial layer, it has been possible very much due to Bitcoin. Scalability is a challenge, of course, but solutions are also already underway. The Lightning Network is one great example for those who are interested. In all, there's a pressing need for an alternative to centralized legacy finance, which makes Bitcoin a vehicle for the future. Thank you.